Welcome to Teachers TV Africa. I'm Teacher Peter Okware, and this is our program called the Teachers Talk. In the Teachers Talk, we share a lot of things with the teachers to find out how can we make our education better but not bitter. And today I'm with a very special teacher. He has traveled so many miles to come here purely for this talk and also seeing ways on how teen can work with their school. And today's topic, we're going basically to be looking at one thing. We, like here at teen and other players in education, they have a lot of solutions that can transform schools. But in most cases, you find that in most cases, schools don't collaborate. You find that there are people who might be interested in helping schools so that even the learners might benefit. Like sharing, let me use an example of the knowledge of reading that we have. We know a lot when it comes to the area of reading. We know a lot when it comes to the area of developing a teacher and teacher competence. We know a lot when it comes to human resource development and retention. But you rarely find schools coming together to say, let us train our teachers so that they can get this in their local settings. Why don't we have the cooperation among schools? Yet we are saying that we are teaching children of the nation, but there is no cooperation.
Yeah, thank you, Peter. My name is Okelo David from Pade District. I am the director at Shovine Education Center. Yeah, according to the question, it's a question that is very technical because the challenge is everywhere in Uganda, not only in the central, even in northern Uganda. You find people after getting knowledge, they want to keep the knowledge with them. They don't want to share the knowledge. To me, I think if we want to go very far, if we want to achieve our dreams in education, then it's the matter of changing the mindset. We need to change the mindset. We need to look at the work we are doing for the children, and the children are for the nation. We have a mindset that we say, these children belong to this school. And so if I help the teacher for this school, it will make them perform better than our school, which is very wrong. So I think what we should do is to change our mindset and begin looking at children. We are teaching them as children for the nation, and we help them. And then secondly, I would love to say that we as teachers, we need to also realize that learning is a continuous thing. You keep learning until you die. The knowledge that you have acquired is not enough, but if you keep sharing what you have, in the process of sharing with your friend, you learn new things. And that makes you a better teacher from time to time. If you keep the knowledge we have learned within us, it will not last for long. It goes away because we are not practicing. So I feel teaching itself is a collective responsibility. Even if we have different schools, but we need to come together and share the responsibilities of being teachers. I think that's what I can say.
Okay, thank you. Now, the reason why I posed that question is simply because you find that today, school A, there might be 5 schools or 10 schools in the area, but they all have a uniform challenge, but they never sit down to come up with a solution in order to address a uniform challenge, and each school is struggling on their own. You find, like, I'll give you an example. Currently, according to the World Bank report, they say, the report said, last year's report, that 7 out of 10 children who are below the age of 10, but I think even in Africa or in Uganda it is even above that, below the age of 15, can't read and comprehend. And schools know it, school directors know it, head teachers know it, the teachers know it, but people can't sit down to see how can they get a solution, a societal solution to that challenge. What should be done? Do they need sensitization, or it's okay since we are in competition, there's no cooperation? Or it's all about saying, as you have said, that we are teaching children of the nation, let us sit down and come up with at least practical solution that can help the situation.
To me, I think what we should do, the school proprietors, they need to show interest in coming together as schools. So if there is need for sensitization, then we need to begin with the directors of the school.
Okay.
Because if directors are interested in working together, the teachers of those schools will also
Love
feel
more.
very comfortable to work together.
Yes.
And then let the schools should also pick this and throw it away. That, you know, why they don't want to share the idea is they look at competition, a key, you see? That when I help this school and at the end of it they perform better than us, it will not work for us. So we want to be a champion. We want to, you know, win. And in that process of thinking of winning, you are not helping those ones who are somehow not very okay. So the school proprietor, we need to come together. You have the center now. As Peter, you have the center for training. I think you need to sensitize. We need to go an extra mile sensitizing the owners of the schools so that they can, they take back the information to their schools.
Okay, thank you. Teacher David has said at least we need to sensitize the school directors and the proprietors, yes, so that they can also cascade the information in their respective schools. Because at the end of the day, competition, healthy competition is good, unhealthy competition is very disastrous.
Yeah.
So according to you, and according to the way how you see things, do we have healthy competition or unhealthy competition? And is it working for all of us, or it is working for a few who are well prepared?
The competition we have at the moment, I can say it is unhealthy. Because we are targeting only, people are working for their schools only, for the few. But if we are to have a healthy competition, then we should have only one goal, that we want our children to perform well, and for the whole schools.
Wow. Meaning we should have one goal.
Yes.
That all our children should perform
well.
Because education is more of a service.
Yes.
If it's a business, it's more of a social business.
Exactly.
But why don't we have that one goal?
Currently, we don't have that one goal because of, just like I said at the beginning, that we are not sensitized yet. I think after sensitizing the school owners, we shall have that goal.
Are the school owners willing to be sensitized? At times, do they start up schools? Do most of them, not all, there are those ones who start up schools with good objectives.
I think if we value, you know, it's true that not all schools have objective of good performance. There are some schools which they've just started as a business and they don't care about the results. But if we want to achieve as we are talking about, then why can't we come together? Why can't we accept to be sensitized? I think we should accept, because after all, after accepting to be sensitized, we have the knowledge and we feed with the children. And still we will be making the money. If our target was on money, we will be making the money. Of which I think most proprietors, they don't look at money, the priority. We look at
service. All right. You have said it that most proprietors, or not all proprietors, look at the money. There are those ones who look at education as a service, and they are majorly focusing on providing the service. Now, I would like to ask you a simple question or a simple scenario. You find that currently, like with the recently released PL examination, you find that there are some districts that performed extremely poor. You find other pupils got in the entire district over 2,000 kids getting ungraded. What are those districts doing, and isn't there any person who is responsible, or aren't there people who should resign? Maybe it can be at the local level, school level, parents should also at times resign, some teachers. Why don't people take responsibility over when things go wrong? Because, I don't know.
I come from a rural area of that setting. That in the past exams, it was poorly done, just like you said. It was poorly done in most of the school. But I don't want to talk much on that because I was focusing on private schools all what I was saying. But now when it comes to that,
General.
then I want to say that the government school has more problems than private schools. Beginning from the teachers, the children, and even the parents. Because if I am to begin with the parents are not supporting education, especially in the
That's
village
true.
setting. They are not supporting.
Education.
They think education is
The role of the
sending children to school and that is all. You send children to P1 when EOC is already 10 years and you want this child to get first grade. What miracle will the teacher use? You send the children, you don't make follow-up, you don't give support. Sometimes even you take children to school without books. That is the challenge from the parents. Now when it comes also to teachers, I do believe that maybe, because what I believe that what we got from the college was good, but does not make you become a complete teacher. To be a complete teacher of these days, you need to really work very hard, do a lot of trainings, do a lot of workshops, which is not the case in government schools.
What is the case there?
The case in the government school is school open the first day and they close the last day without even attending a training. So teachers have nothing apart from what they get from the college. And when it comes now to the system of teaching, it makes it very difficult for a child deep there in the village, in a government school, to perform like a child who is in private school. So that is a challenge from the teachers. And then the children also have problems because they are misguided.
How?
The children are not being told why they should come to school. They look at coming to school as punishment.
Really?
And that's why sometimes even when the child comes to school, before the time a child disappear from school. Yeah. So they look at it as punishment. Parents don't have time to tell their children why they have taken their children to school.
What are parents doing?
By the way, I am sorry to use this word that parents in the rural setting are lousy about education.
They are lousy?
They are lousy. They don't take education the priority. I'm not saying all parents, but most of the parents in the rural setting, where the results come when it is really unpleasant. They don't value education. You take a child to school the first day until the last day, you don't come to check on how the child is performing. Will the child love school?
No.
The child is being chased from school for 5,000 PTA, and you let the child to stay at home for 2 weeks.
Yeah, the parent has the money, they are boozing.
When the rainy season comes for farming, you take the child home for 2 weeks, you're doing farm work, and then you let the child come to school. The child is not appreciating even coming to school because he does not know why you want him to come to school. Why am I on and off, on and off? Between the work at home and the school, which one should I now take as a priority? So that makes children also very lazy, and they don't put their interest in learning. And then when we are to come to solution to that, that becomes a very broad thing.
Okay.
Very, very broad thing that we may not finish. I'm talking about the government school now. If I ask you why the teachers are very lazy, or they're not giving all what they should give, it is because of lack of motivation.
Say it again.
Lack of motivations to teachers. How teachers there in the village, you are getting that 500, you have 5 children or even 6 children, and you're living without money. You're renting. So you find teachers, they're just doing the work because they want to get that little. They are not doing because that is the best they should do. They are not doing from their heart. They're just doing because, let me do so that at the end of the month, I can get that little. So why should they bother now whether the child gets first grade or fourth, or even you? And in any case, if I have another job I can do to earn money, Why can't I leave a little early so that I can go and do the job and get some money? So those are challenges in the rural setting that affects education so much, from both the school, the teachers, the parents.
Then what should the government do, right, in order at least to...
If I am to look at the solution, then not only the government. The government, okay, let me begin by the government. Government should call for refresher courses for teachers as many times as possible.
Okay.
So that teachers can be equipped with enough knowledge on how to handle classwork. Some wants to do, but they have little knowledge. They have little. So government should call for refresher courses. And then government should put more facilitations for teachers, so that teachers can feel comfortable with their work.
Okay.
At least promises that has been, many years. We're going to do this, we're going to do this. And the promises are not fulfilled. And I think that is one of the reasons teachers are very reluctant now.
But at least there are also organizations. If you go in, or like majorly, in all the districts outside Kampala, there are so many organizations, NGOs, that are doing a lot of trainings, capacity building. They have invested a lot of money. I'll tell you an example, World Vision. World Vision has invested a lot of money in seeing that schools are transformed, Save the Children, Plan International, Compassion. But if like reading the statistics, I don't know whom should we ask. Like just last year, the ungraded Toro district, they had 2,297. Mayugwe 2,108. Oyam 2,092. Palisa 2,085. Kamuli 1,834. Pader, let me just like your Pader,
my
they had
district.
1,237. Kampala 1,322. So look at all this. Where do they go, and whom should we blame? Like we have talked about the parents, we have talked about the government, and have you seen people coming out to talk about that? I don't know that you have seen people coming out, organizations coming out, the government coming out, talk about, because these are citizens, and these are people who are going to turn into maybe thieves, thugs, young parents, because if I get ungraded, chances are very high that a parent will not support that child to repeat. They'll tell them, get a job, child labor, what should be done, right? And isn't this alarming, according to you?
That is very, very alarming. It's not something we should even hear about. I think if we had to put more blames, in this case, anyway, blame will not help, but blame will not help in this case. But I think as teachers, we need to take it with all our hearts that being a teacher is a call. God has called you, God has chosen you to change the nation. So I think we need to somehow look at children very innocent and give all what it takes to be given, leaving alone the money, the facilitation, and the rest of other things. If we can all learn to accept to give all we have, because being a teacher is a call, then I think we shall have a kind of improvement.
Okay.
That's according to me. Because when we go to the government side, if our main target is to see that we are facilitated, then we shall not run away from these results. We shall always continue to get the results.
True.
For many years even. Because promises has been made now for many years. So how sure are we that when it is made this year, it will be fulfilled? So I think it should come from our hearts And then secondly, the NGOs that are there and they can support education. I'm glad to hear that here in Kampala or within city, there are organizations that are helping a lot. In the rural setting there, they are there. Like World Vision is there, even at our home is there. But I'm seeing very little work they are doing to make sure the performance is improved. The only thing the only thing I have witnessed was hearing that they were giving books, exercise books to children. That was in 2018. But I've not heard that an organization called for teachers training. I've not heard in our village.
But I believe World Vision does a lot of trainings.
It does a lot of training, but
Yeah.
let us also be keen on the training that they give, because that's the training focus on grooming a teacher to be very good or to be a teacher of these days. Because training can be as many as we can talk about. But if they cannot equip, if it cannot equip the teacher, then it will be a training which is not very helpful.
Okay.
I've never attended the training, but that is what I think. Because if the training was really good, then why is the teacher come from training and the teacher is still the same?
Maybe because of other factors. Maybe because of other factors that that are not yet addressed, like before the training or after the training. Like you have talked about the motivation, and in most cases, it might not be them alone, but we also look at other things, like how you have said, the parents. What's the role of the parents? What's the role of the school management committee? What's the role of the community?
Like, let me cite an example of my school. I am telling you that the work we are doing there is really a tough work. You don't need to teach only the children. You teach the children together with the
Their
parents.
parents.
To some extent, you go up to their home and you sit the parent one-on-one and you talk to him. And you guide him on the values of educating a child.
Yes.
You see? Because sometimes even if you call for the meeting, they don't come. Now what should you do? You have to look for them and teach them from their home why they should bring the children and pray.
From their home.
From their home.
When they don't have time. Like.
So you find, for us in a term, we have 3 to 4 times meetings at school. We call this time, they come, the other time. Like for us now, we have had the first meeting. The second meeting is going to be in week 6. We need to have that series of meetings so that we also teach them. And I think it's going to be very hard for government school, but all the government schools, they have a system, the PTA and then the school management committee. And if the school management committee are given time and the tools, they can be very helpful in changing parents.
Okay. Now, my final question is, according to the way how you, as an African, born and raised in Africa, like, how do you see our education system in Africa? Are we on the right track? Are there areas where we should improve? Or we are extremely contented?
Yeah, the system of our education, it's not all that very bad. But if I may say, or if I may talk about things that we should change, then I would say that this taking long with children studying for, you finish primary, you finish senior 4, you finish senior 6, before you are targeted onto what you will do, I think that is taking very, very long. And that is why affording education is very difficult to many families. So I would rather say that children be equipped at the early stage on what they should do. Maybe like, okay, you teach them skills. After finishing this, go and do this thing here. Like after senior 4, someone can go and do, those days it used to be PTC, you become a teacher, that is somehow affordable, but these days it's even not there. They said after, you need to go up to senior 6 and you do that. So you find people who are not having money, they may not have that, they may not be able to take their children after senior 6 anywhere now, because they shall have used all their money. So I think that's the area I think if there is a change, we should make it.
Okay. And according to you, yes, as you have said that, like, does it mean that currently, as a parent, they should be comfortable maybe selling their plots of land and say, I'm educating my child because through education they're going to get a better future, or we should make the right choices at times, doing the right investment when it comes to education? Because currently people believe that a child going to school is enough. But we have so many educated people at times when you find struggling on the streets, and then...
That's why I was talking about skill. Parents have to be very, very keen when looking for money to pay the school fees. Because it's a common thing, that side of ours, because we have land. Plenty of land, I can say. You find people selling their lands, not plots by the way, they sell in terms of acres.
Acres.
To pay school fees. And sometimes you begin selling land when the child is still in primary. So what's the size of your land that you will keep selling until your child finishes education? You will realize that by the time your child reaches senior 6, you don't even have where to stay.
You have sold everything, and you have even sold yourself.
You don't have where to stay. So I think parents, we need to find a better strategy of looking for money, and then we also choose school we can afford, so that it does not bring a lot of headaches.
That's very important.
Yeah. You choose a school you can afford, because there are schools and there are levels, and all of them are good schools. They have teachers from the same institutions.
Cutting your coat according to
your size.
Your size, eh? Yeah. And your clothes, not just cutting.
Yeah. If it is too long, it will become the raincoat now. Or the dust coat.
The dust coat, eh?
Yeah.
So members, I think, dear parents, thank you very much, teacher, for sharing your opinion on Teachers Talk. And don't forget to like and subscribe to Teachers TV Africa if you're new here. And as I say, that in most cases, we can't blame the government alone. And blaming won't make things better. In order for us to improve as a nation, it should be a collective responsibility from parents, teachers, schools, the government, and even the learners themselves.
Yeah.
He has also talked about us as parents taking time to sensitize and teach our learners the value of education. Then, don't sell your plot of land because you want to compete with your neighbor. You want to compete with others who have taken their children maybe to school A or B, and you sell your assets. At least take a child to a school that you can afford, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
And we have been at the Teen Teachers Development Center under our Teacher Talk program. Don't go away. See you then. May God bless you.